Well, hi guys, hopefully this finds you very well. My name's Paul, this is Plan Z, and I've been asked by Ben to have a little look at the X amps. I was all set to go on the vintage amps, but it seems, it's going to help someone else. So I've set up the template that I built the other day, and I'm going to link a couple of videos in the description below. One of them is where I set up the templates that we're going to be using today actually, but I'm using a twin amp. In this video I've got GT1000 cabinets on 2 patches, no 2 notes today. So this is GT1000 412-2, which is the Marshall 1960. Let's go to our back pickup. I'm in a medium gain. Let's go along to our cabinets so we can see the signal chain, and we'll work our way backwards from here. So at the moment 2 notes is on my main out. If you're not familiar with my channel, I had another channel. This is a new channel, and hopefully my old subscribers are going to find me. I can't get into the old Google account, unfortunately. It got hacked. Modern world, eh? So here I've got my 2 notes cab M in here. I'll show you how I set it up in the other video that I'll link below. Here it's turned off. We've got a spare divide, and what I'm doing is I split the cabinets. Now before we get into there, let's just have a little look at the output settings, and I'm going to reference the video that I put below. The output settings are covered in this part, but I just want to show you the EQ is flat. Okay, so there's no EQ on here at all on the output. I'm trying to keep it flat because I want to put basses, acoustics, things like this through my sub outs. Now in this patch I'm running 412-2, as I said. We've got a ribbon 121 on the left, medium distance, 0, so it's in the middle of the cone, and the level is at 100. Now on the right side, now remember to link these together, group them together correctly, pair them up. I've got the same, obviously, cabinet. We've got the 57 as our microphone here. The distance is the same, and we're 3 centimeters off axis. Now I've got the level at 95 here. I've just pulled it back a little bit. I find it a touch hot. Okay, and I want the I just found that to be a better balance. Now this medium here is quite important. You get a bass build up as you're playing, particularly with gainy amps, and you want to back that off a touch. Now here I've got a reverb and a side chain where we're just using a spring verb. I've just pulled the density back from my original template, so the density is now on 3, and we can just pull that back, and we can obviously turn that off. Okay, so now we're nice and dry, and there we've got just a touch. So I'm just going to leave us dry for a moment. Now let's come down here. We've got an EQ set after the amp, we've got the amps, and then we've got an EQ set before the amps. But here I want to talk to you about another video that I'm going to try linking below from Jared Gunston, where he talks about a strategy that he's started looking at for using noise suppression, and I'm using the same strategy. Okay, so I've just set it up the same way that he says to set it up. The only difference I say I've got to at the moment is I've just started in the assigns here. So where am I? So I've got noise suppression 1. I've got the high level here at 100 for a moment rather than 125. I think he's going quite a lot lower. I need to experiment with this. I'm still experimenting. Now I've got my second noise suppression. In all my templates, these are both just set on, and then I'll just turn it off if I don't need to use it, okay? And in this patch, the second one comes on after the amp when I go to the high gain channel, okay? So, and it's set up in the same way. Now, let's talk about the amps. We've got 2 amps here. We've got 2 patches we're going to look at. One is a stereo patch, and one is what I would call like the lead patch, where I've just put in some simple things. So here we've got the X-Crunch, running the gain at 70, leaving the sag in the middle for the low gain. Got my resonance for all of them on 5. I quite like what it does to the shape of the mids and the highs. Now I've got the level for the low gain at 76. Let's go back to that neck pickup where it's a bit fuller. Actually, let's go both pickups. That's nice. Let's give ourselves a little bit of verb. So it cleans up right nice. Now here, we've got the bass at 40. I've got the mids just pulled back a little bit at 45. I've got the trebs pushed up at 60, and I've got the presence. I find you really need your presence here. I like it at around 70 with this amp. Now let's, I've got the bright switch off, but let's just see what that does. So slightly brighter. What I might do is just stick on a clean boost. Yeah, I quite like that. Hang on, let's just, now my clean boost, just using the clean boost here with the drive on 40, plus 10 on the tone, level at 70 there. Leave the bottom alone, and I normally bring in a bit of direct mix with my boosts, but with a clean boost I just leave it as it is. In contrast, we've got a tube screamer in here. Well, I haven't dialed this in yet because I'm thinking we might want to put an XOD on there. So we'll come back to that a little bit later. Now, with our amp, I'm going to leave that up. Let's go to the medium gain, where I've got the gain at 70 again. I've left the sag in the middle, the resonance on 5, level is 71, 72. Now here I'm pulling a bit more of the bass out, and I'm pushing the mids a bit more to 60. Still got my highs up, so what I might do is just, I haven't got a bright switch on, look. So what I might do, actually quite like to push the highs here. They're not too offensive, so I'm going to stay like that. Yeah, so here we do the change from medium to high gain, and there I just take a bit more of the bass off, leave the mids being pushed where they are, pull the highs back to 60. So it's just I pull the 5 off the trebs and 3 off the bass. Now here I've got the gain at 70. Let's crank that. But I thought the sweet spot was around 70. I really like that. So I'm just going to come back to the medium gain now. You'll notice the noise suppression's come off. Let's go back to the neck. Stay where I am for the minute there. Okay, so now let's talk about EQ. This is the important part. We've got an EQ set dealing with the low end. Now, I did a video on my other channel. I might link that below, you know, because it's a useful video. People seem to like it, where I talk you through how to use a parametric EQ, particularly in the digital modeler. Now, here, my strategy is this. I deal with the low ends. I take out all the lows and low mids that I don't want before the amp, and I boost any lows I want and boost my mids after the amp, okay, or in the amp itself. I then deal with the highs after the amp. But I've changed my strategy ever so slightly with my actual low cut. I've put it after the amp now. I'm finding it cleaner in GT1000 to do that. So you'll notice here, the first page of the first EQ is totally flat. We're using parametric EQs. I'm taking out 160 on a Q of 8 minus 6 dB. It's adding a lot of boom, I found. I'm doing the same at 200. Now, these frequencies will be different depending on the amp, where I get to, and the kind of tone that I'm dialing in, but I found these were the frequencies with the X-Crunch. Well, here I'm taking out a Q of 8 minus 6 again. No low cut. I was originally putting a low cut here in the template. Now in this one, again, it's all flat on the first page, and we're just taking out on a Q of 16, 315 Hertz. And if I put this through a live cabinet and I was having problems with boom, I'd just open that Q by one. Okay? So if you're putting that through a different cabinet, if you still find this tone a little boomy, just open this up and you should find, as you open up, your boom will disappear. Okay? I've just done it as a notch Q because we're going digital directly to the phone via a mixer, and yeah, I don't have any cabinet resonance happening. Now I take 500 out on a Q of 4 minus 6 dB, but what I want you to note is in the assigns, when I go to the high gain, that Q opens up to a Q of 2. I could open that up. We might need to do that in this amp. So what I might do is just... What I'm finding is working with the vintage amps in here, I can play around with that a bit more. But that X feels a bit strong. Now where have I put that EQ? Pre-EQ here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that off, but leave it in my patch just in case, and just make sure I've got that open there. So I'm just going to gain stage that and just check it. I do lose a little bit of level there. So I'm going to do that and just pull that level up by 1 dB, okay, to compensate. I only needed that. I'm looking at my volume meter on my mixer in the room, okay? So now let's go to the last EQ and work our way backwards, where in here I'm boosting the highs by 1 dB and the level by 1 dB. Back here I'm taking a high cut at 6.30 and a low cut at 125 Hertz, okay? Taking out 3.15 on a Q of 8 minus 3 dB, and then at 2K, and we'll check this frequency now, I'm doing a notch filter minus 6. Just going to turn that frequency up. Yeah, I think that's definitely it. So you can hear immediately why I've taken that out. So I'm going to take that out. I'm taking it down to minus 6 dB. And then to compensate for what we've done there, we just boost the level by 1 and plus 1, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save those changes there on that patch. Let's cut back into... Now, in the next patch, I've got X-Crunches dialed in again, all the same strategies going on here. We're going to open up that Q. Okay, lovely. And I'll talk to you about this other EQ. I didn't talk to you about that in the other patch. I should do, really. I'll go back there and show you, but I'll tell you what's happening. But first, let's talk about the amps in here. Now, these amps, we've got an amp each side, and each amp goes between a medium gain and a low gain, okay? When I do that, I don't change any of the settings here. And both the amps, 1 and 2, are set up slightly differently in the EQ section of the amp, okay? So on this side, I'm commonly taking out a bit more bass, pushing the mids, got the trebs up, pulled back a little bit, and the presence will be the same as it is on this side. But the highs will be different, the mids sometimes usually different, slightly lower, and there'll be a bit more bass, okay? Now this part of the amp will be set the same for both of the amps, okay? Unless I need to make a volume change or I'm dialing in different amps for a blend. And I use this patch for blending, but also I'm not using it as a blend in this patch, I'm just using it as a stereo amp patch. So I've now got 2 amps either side of me. And with that, I can direct, just go into that one, just go into that one, or I can double click, come up in just that one, or come up in just that one. And this one where the mids is pushed is a bit better for soloing, things like that. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm doing there. Now, in this EQ, I take out just 1 dB and I'll shape it. So sometimes I'll push a frequency here, but I'm just pushing 125 Hertz on a Q of 1, 3 dB in this EQ. And I'm doing that to shape the amp in a different way. I'm just going to save this patch. In a different way to this one, where I'm pushing in that EQ, it's set up the same way, but I'm pushing 1.6. That's the only difference, okay? So there'll be a dial in on the amp and that EQ there, and I'll shape things. So over the next few videos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the this is just my first template for the X-Crunch, and we'll use this to experiment with in other X-Crunch videos. I've got a bunch of patches. Hang on. Just going to come out a little bit. Now, we were looking at patch 5 and 4, and patches 1 through to 3 will be set up for 2 notes. I've just not done it yet. This guy's asked to dive into this, and I think he's using GT standard cab, so I thought, you know what, I'll just dial those in. So let's just test this out. So what I've got is we're in manual mode. So when this light here is off, ignore that these are lit up. Yeah, it's just me being flash. But if I engage that, these lights now mean something. So here I've got compression. Here I've got a tube screamer. Here I've got a synth. Here I've got a tremolo. It's going into a chorus. Now here is where I go between the gain stages. Let's put that compressor back on. Let's take that off. Okay, so let's take that guy off. Now, moving through my gain stages. Let's take the compressor off. Let's go to the high gain. Back pickup. Let's boost that. So here I've got clean boost. Okay, So I'm just going to come out of there, and now in the stereo patch, let's engage the manual mode. We've got the same kind of tricks, but here is where my stereo business happens. So when that light is red and this light is green, we're coming up the middle in the B amp, so the amp on the right. When that's green and this is green, we're in the A amp, which is the one with the mids pulled back a little bit, and we're up the middle. When I select both, I can land on whichever one I've selected when I come back up. Okay, compression. Another clean boost. Let's take that off, and stick on a fuzz. So I'll talk to you about fuzzes in a separate video when we dive into the overdrive. So I want to get some of the amps set up first. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this patch to get us started. Let's go. Stick on that for a second. Take a loop. Okay, now I'm going to go into the other amp, take off that fuzz, keep my compression on, I think. Going to go to a higher gain. I'm going to stick on my clean boost. Going to my back pickup. Come out of that patch, go to the main patch. Let's get into that high gain. Let's get that tube screamer on. Let's take the verb off, take that off, come in with the gain pot on about 8. So in here, that's sounding really cool. I like that. What we might do is have a little experiment before I say goodbye. Let's stay in this patch. Let's go to the low gain. Back to my stereo patch. We're going to go into the left amp. Let's engage the compression. might work for us. So we're going to stay. Now normally I've got another patch set up with a different fuzz. We might see how we get on. Let's come back up the middle, but let's use. Yeah, we'll have to use a different amp. Go to a low gain there. Try taking a loop. Have that guy come up the middle. So I'll just try coming in. It might be a bit too fuzz heavy, but let's see how we get on. 3, I'm just going to pull that back. 3, 4. I'm going to turn those off, end that there. I've gone on for a long old while. And it was a bit fuzz heavy. We'll see how that sounds on YouTube. Might have been a bit of a crazy idea for the first time I stick it into a template. But yeah, enjoying how that sounds through GT1000 cams. That's quite cool. So yeah, catch you a bit later. Bye-bye. Oh, hope you found that useful. Bye.